Hello? Are we alive? Is everything on fire? Is that an in-social? Saying my voice sounds annoying again. I don't know why I picked up a bit of an accent, but I guess I have an accent right now. How are you guys doing? Hi Baymax, hi Toby, hi Ben, hi in-social, hi Battery, hi. That's a new Baymax that's a new art. Will this be your ha? Ha. Uh, um, mayhaps I should talk quickly about the things that happened off stream. First off, a lot of bug fixes happened off stream. Second off, I implemented this really bad loader of an OBJ file. It works, but it just merges all of the shapes together into one shape, and that's bad. I also implemented this time. I added time into this program, and I set up a little bit of code to make the fish that we load turn around. Also, on that note, we have a fish that turns around. I'm a bit sad I lost in the hackathon, though it was a great learning experience. I'm sorry. Did you at least do kind of okay-ish? It's okay, it's just a game. I like how the meme is like not entirely wrong. You did below average? Oh no. Well, that's not good. So the first goal of today's stream is to let the compile finish again, since I was doing some experimentation on release mode. And now that we're switching back to debug mode, the whole thing has to recompile. I got a little scared. Are they still there? They are, because I was looking at the binaries, the executables that get created, and I saw 322 megabytes, and I was like, Pong should not be 322 megabytes. Look at Battery with the inspiration. Also, don't worry, in social, next time you'll do better. So, the results. Let me pull, I can't pull up the picture. C'est la vie. The result from yesterday, which we'll see in a second, is that we have a little spinning orange fish. The goal for today's stream is that we're going to take that little spinning orange fish and we're going to put a texture on it. So we're going to color it in rainbow colors, kind of purpley rainbow colors. Also, am I robotic? Did I just step into a therapy session? I think you stepped into... Yeah. Yeah, I think you did. Are there any questions? I don't know if it's therapy or if it's battery cheerleading, but one of those two things is happening. It's almost everyone here. Am I audible? Question mark, question mark, question mark. You hear me? Am I robotic? Have I broken anything? Again. And again. And again. What a great time to be alive. Not robotic, yay! Why is it a great time to be alive? It sounds like always. Yay. How's everybody's, I guess, day going? Since all of you have had more of a day than I have. My day has involved strongly worded emails from my advisor about the paper that's due tomorrow. And being here. How are you guys? I went to school, and I'm mad me and my friend aren't in the same class. Oh no. Welcome to life? After trying to install Steam on an MSI laptop with NVIDIA, I'm so oof. I think I should leave it for later. Also, we won't be learning anything till next week. Oof. Wait, what are you doing tomorrow then if you're not learning anything? Thank you for the lurk, Rosie. Okay. So, the result that we're starting with today is that we have a spinning fish. Isn't it fishy? I don't see a whole human model with no skin. Huh? You're just sitting in your classes for the entire day, huh? I had the same thing, but 3 people quit and got in the same class as my buddy. Huh? This seems so weird. That I don't understand. Okay, so goals for today. Goal. Flat shaded material. Goal 1 is we want a simple goal 1 is we're gonna do a flat shaded material. Goal 2 is that we want a do we need geometry buffer? Actually, yeah, we should have geometry buffer before we do shaded material. I don't want to make a geometry buffer today. Simple geometry buffer. Goal 2, flat shading material. Goal 3, texture loader. And let's give those a little penny pin. Anatomy time? You have to wake up in 4 hours. Good luck. Good luck with your anatomy practicing. I like the fish. I'm sick currently. I think it was all because of welding. I had the wrong posture, so back hurts and maybe got poisoned by the electro welding. I'm feeling a bit better. Where is the fish? Here is the fish. Yikes. We don't do schoolwork. Also, we don't switch classes. We have a registered teacher, which is our main teacher in charge of us. Are you gonna do like an orientation or anything though? Like what's the point of you sitting there if like nothing's gonna happen? Dad doesn't understand. The damn nice fish? That's probably because it's not my fish. I stole the fish. Well, stole is a strong word, but something like that. So, we need G buffers. So, struct surface equals struct basic geometry buffer. And what is a geometry buffer? It does those two things. It's gonna have a stood span of stylizer, of API, color attachments. And it's gonna have a stood span, it's gonna have a stood optional API depth stencil attachment. That's how you spell attachment. I can't spell. The fish looks brighter than my eyes. Oh no. Hello, Danger Mouse. How are you doing this morning? Hi. Fish looks tasty. Please don't eat my fish. They're sorting some stuff and making us clean our school, but not my grade? Huh. I bet we can have a singing fish. I sound very sick. Do I? I'm not talking as, I'm talking a little bit less high pitched than I usually do. Is that why, do you think? I'm talking a little bit more smoothly. I don't know. We're talking smooth. You're just getting older? Fuck you. It feels like you got a sore throat. Well, I don't, so, feel better? Question mark? She's aunt, basically 26 years old aunt. Nothing. Well, she does not sound like me after tomorrow morning for sure. Nothing. Okay. So. Is there anything else I want in a geometry buffer? I don't think so. So let's make new file. Color depth. Geometry buffer.hpp. Hashtag pragma once. Namespace stylizer. Struct color depth. Geometry buffer. And then we're gonna have concept, material concept, template, type name king, stud, derived from, ting material and requires TT basic geometry buffer, GL buffer, and we should have a T create that takes probably a context too. So a context and a geo buffer, and actually we're just gonna call them G buffers like everyone else does. A G buffer, and return stud convertible to material. No, not stud convertible to material, stud convertible to T. That's not how you spell G buffer. She is not. Why do you keep claiming that I'm like an infinitely old lolly? Computers haven't been around that long. I can only be like 100 max. That's how humans learn about fire. Yeah, it's a granny behind that screen. Nani? 26, I don't care. That's young enough for me. Nani? Huh? She's old enough to be. It's old enough to be your ancestor's ancestor? Huh? Hello, stagnant water. How are you doing? AI is not for dating, it is for teaching and laughing at. Huh? I agree with almost all of this message except the last part. I have a mild complaint with the last clause of this sentence. Everything else I agree with though. Why would you laugh at me? What have I ever done to deserve this? Good docs is docs. Huh? The static assert material concept manual material void, I guess. And that's gonna fail because we don't have a static create from a context and a basic geometry buffer reference G buffer. And actually, I'm gonna take this as constant. And it should return a manual material. And we're gonna just return that. Okay. Can you texture my fish? You can I feel like there's an insinuation I don't fully understand here. Your voice still sounds like a kid at 50,000 years old. Nani? What's with your voice? Oh. I hate it for whatever that's worth. So, do with that information what you will. His name is Goldie. Maybe owned? Is that some kind of declarative programming? Yes. It's just a type that represents a pointer that we may or may not be responsible for cleaning up. My voice ain't even bad, quit. I mean, everyone is entitled to the right to be wrong. It's a Miku voice with old speakers. Miku, Miku, bing! Do I have a Miku voice? So, so, what you are saying is that you wish for me to slide into a slightly more mature voice for a little while. You're never wrong. Teto better? But what about Rin and Len? Okay, so we have our color depth G buffer, which is a public geometry buffer. I think you should sleep. You can hear the artifacts now. Good night. Good luck on your exam thing. So we want two textures. So we want API, parent backend, texture, color, and depth. We're gonna want to create function. So let's also have static color depth geometry buffer creates. And we need 3 bits of information here. We need the context. We need a size. What type of size are we doing for textures? Actually, should size be a reactive? They might keep size as a reactive. But we still want a size. Size. And now we want an API texture format, color format. And we want an API texture format, depth format equals API texture format depth U24. Did we finish goal 1 yet? Nope, we have not yet finished goal 1. We're working on goal 1. We got a fishing simulator. Let's go. So we're gonna go context.create texture. API texture create config. So what do we got here? Label. So the label is going to be stylizer gbuffer color. The format is going to be color format. The usage is fine. The size is going to be size. Mip levels 1, samples 1. So actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a config override, which is just gonna be the default config. So auto config equals config override. Config.label equals stylizer gbuffer color. Actually, let's not override the label. Config dot format is going to be the color format. That's the thing we'll override. And config dot size is the size. And then we're going to go geometry buffer out dot size equals reaction var size. And then out dot color is create texture config no context config. No, just config. And then out dot, and then we need to tweak the config. So we need the config dot format to equal the depth format, and then out dot depth is equal to context dot create texture config. And then we return out. Ooh, but we should attach. So reaction. Actually, no, we shouldn't attach, but we should go out dot color dot size. And we don't want, actually, we don't, let's go back up to the API. Hi, John. If you want the thing to respond to different screen size, maybe the size should be reactive. Bye-bye. You can control Shift I a bit. It's hard for me to see small screen. There you go. What am I using? C++. C++ and are you asking like what the shading language is? We're using Slang. Well, I guess we're using a little bit of Slang and a little bit of WGSL. Bye-bye and social sleep well. Pleasant dreams. So we're here because no, we're here. These should not be current backend textures. These should just be textures. And then we should be using texture create context config. And then color.size equals out.size. And then out.depth.size equals out.size, which I hope to do does this link their reactive state like I hope it does. I wonder if this is gonna break. Oh well, we'll see. We might have to do some finagling to get this all to work. We're gonna have to do some finagling to get it to work anyway, though. So, and now to make this a proper geometry buffer, actually add some spacing here. So, we want some space below context. We want some. Actually, let's link those two. We want some space below geometry buffer. We want some space below material. We want some space. Actually, let's keep the common mesh attributes kind of close to material. We want some space below time. Okay. Guess what I got today? A puppy. A broken throat. Explosions. Terminal cancer. Am I getting hotter or colder? You wish you had a puppy, but you got a math aid book? I see. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Okay, color attachment is return. Actually, no. We want the attachments. Well, actually, so what exactly is a color attachment? Because we can. A should store clear value. Ooh, should we have a clear value? Speaking of AI, do I have any pets? I do not have any pets. Stud, math, vector, float, 3. I'm too bad at keeping things alive to have pets. You once had a puppy, but it's with your relatives now? I'm sorry. You had 2 puppies, but something tragic happened? Oh no. Color attachment, attachments. Attachment. Attachment. I don't want the blend state to work. A color blend state. So first order of business, attachment dot clear value equals clear value. Oh, 4. And then attachment dot texture equals color. A pointer to color. And then color blend state. What does a blend state look like? I don't want an optional. I want a blend state. API blend state. So this is set up so that we'll just leave it default. Actually, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go API color attachment template, and that's gonna be at the default. Attachment template. API color attachment depth stencil attachment template. These should be equal 0 and virtual. And these should be override. And these should have their templates. So what we're gonna just do is we're gonna go Well, actually, and since we... will not store a clear value. We should store a clear value. So, attachment template dot clear value equals clear value. Attachment template dot texture equals memory address of color. Return expand from value attachment. And that's gonna... Okay, so static. Temp. So I'm gonna go temp equals attachment template, and then temp clear value equals those things, and then we'll return temp, and then it should live longer. No viable conversion. Guess we're throwing consts in here. And cats are great. My condolences. They just grew up. They're not dead. They're dogs now. And my thanks, battery. Or should you what? You did not realize that there was an HPP file type? I only thought there was an H one. There is, in fact, an HPP file type. I'm technically in chat and I'm working on a project. Does that count? Const. You do not need to be const. So attachment template dot texture equals depth, and then we return attachment template. And we're gonna make the depth stencil attachment just be return default, return null opt. So if you don't specify a depth stencil attachment, you get the default. No, I don't count. Well, I see how it is. Using Python to make an RPG, kinda cool. I'm gonna make a tiny layout for Game Jam game and maybe begin to code. Cool. Actually, but for it to be a material, it needs to have the create function. Well, instead runtime assert false and manual material should be manually. Hi. Okay. So first order of business is up here. We're gonna go stylizer, color depth geometry buffer G buffer equals stylizer. Actually, we're gonna make this an auto stylizer. Color depth geometry buffer create context size is 800 601. Color format is window.texture format. And now we're gonna go, instead of color attachments, we're gonna go gbuffer dot color attachments and gbuffer dot depth stencil attachment. And now we are rendering to our gbuffer, which means that we don't need that anymore. And we can pull the next texture. Okay, render pass. Gbuffer. Oh, the gbuffer should have a render pass function. So virtual API current backend render pass. Create render pass. Actually, let's go create that. Yeah, create render pass. This is gonna take a context CTX and the two templates. And so now we're gonna return context CTX dot create render pass from color attachments from the attachment template. Actually these are named wrong, so this should be color template and this should be depth template. And then depth stencil attachment from the depth template. Okay, so now we're gonna go gbuffer dot create render pass from the context. And I like to draw things, I like to set things up like this. It's a great stream to run on the back and come back to confuse everyone, including myself. Nice. How bad for you? Have you considered coding? You think maybe you don't have motivation or a cool project? Well, if you want motivation for a cool project, you should do a game jam, like Toby said. So, hopefully, ideally, what we should now have is no crashing and a blank screen. Because we're no longer rendering to the screen, we're now rendering to the gbuffer. And then we'll need to blit the gbuffer to the screen. And I have some code for blitting that I set up last night but haven't tested, so we're gonna have to see how that goes. One shot failed. Ooh, one shot submit equals true. Ask AI for a cool project or a roadmap to learning. You need a cool project or a roadmap for learning? You're never gonna guess what I'm gonna suggest. Never ever in a million years will you guess what I'm about to suggest that you should do. Am I using a framework for a game? I am creating a framework for games. So yes? Does that answer your question? Doesn't include render attachment. Oops. Config.usage or equals render attachment. Do I have a depth? Is there a depth? Render attachment. What could it be? Small modules? Ha. Hi. What are we doing to a fish? We're rendering a fish. You know what? I think the first episode of Free Wind Season 2 is out tomorrow. I think you're right. I'm very excited. And I believe episode 1 of Oshinoko Season 3 came out yesterday. So I'm excited to watch those during anime night tomorrow. I have my own framework on top of WebGPU. Well, have is a strong word, and building is the better word. I'm a first-year CS student. I want to learn C++. Do you have a good roadmap? What do you want to do when you grow up, Superman? Am I correct in assuming that since you found me, you want to do games? I have, in the Discord battery, every Friday night we do anime night. There's like an event in there and everything. Yeah, Superman. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, I try and get the fish back up. So, in order to get the fish back up, we're going to need to blit. So texture dot blit from context gbuffer dot color. Should we have a color texture getter saying that color textures are mandatory? Let's do that. Virtual color API parent backend. No. Oh, nope. Virtual texture. Color texture. We'll make that a reference. 0. And then texture reference color texture. Return color. And declare this as override. You want to design system/simulation engines? Yeah, there's battery. I believe I should link to the Discord more directly, because I believe right now there's a link to the website, my website, on my YouTube, and in there is a link to join the Discord. So you want to design systems/simulating engines? What I recommend for simulation people. Do I still recommend 20 games? So you're gonna want to make physics systems. That would be where I would start. Um, I would start by finding something and learning how to render a sphere in it. So step 1, render a sphere. Step 2, make a sphere move with like velocity. And then do like the world's worst collision detection system where you just have a bunch of spheres moving with some velocity and you check them all against each other. And then you start learning about like BVH, which will get you some broad phase detection. And then start learning about like separating axes theorem and other near phase collision detection algorithms, and starts moving away from spheres to more interesting shapes. That is a what's it called? A very high level overview of what I would recommend. You need to go deep, learn math. This is what you need to understand algorithms and make new ones. Yeah, you're gonna need a lot of math. When you study algebra and analysis, you're gonna want to have a good understanding of calculus. Because while most simulations don't use a lot of calculus, because doing things to infinity is a little bit too expensive for computers, the theory behind the calculus is useful for a lot of stuff. The first semester, we did real analysis and abstract algebra. Also, hi, good luck. How are you doing? Good morning. Thank you for the lurk. Make a spring sim, then go to a class lim? That's like really hard though. That's like what to suggest after he does the stuff I suggested. Just like straight up collision detection is gonna take him a while. Getting like decent collision detection that doesn't take years to run. World's worst collision system. That's just every one of your past collision systems. We'll start learning about BVHs, broad phase detection, maybe some spatial mapping. And then some near phase algorithms. The one I'm aware of is separating axes. Learn a couple of those, chill, and maybe you'll have the world's not worst collision system. Maybe they will build a quantum computer in the coming years. Well, I mean, they already have quantum computers. The problem is that they're not scaled. There's only so much you can do with like a 4-qubit quantum computer. Holy shit, I'm going a lot slower than I was expecting. It's already 11. Damn. And I have meeting today, so we're gonna have to cut here soon. So I guess we're gonna try and get the blitting working. Maybe they quantum. Exactly. Just not small enough. We can't get enough qubits to work together yet. And they're like super expensive because the whole thing is big and has to be like as close to absolute zero as you can get it. So it's super expensive to run. You're pretty sure that you'll do calculus next semester, but I did study it alone along with Newton's physics. So yeah, implement a basic physics solver. Source.sampler failed. Huh? Okay, what kind of black magic did I implement? Texture create. Texture create. What do you have to do to get a sampler? Configure sampler. What does sampler config look like? Um, so the only interesting thing here is the no depth compare. We're probably going to want that to be different. So API, texture, sampler config, sampler, sample. Out dot color dot figure sampler context sample. And then sample dot depth comparison function. Comparison function, sampler config. How do I define comparison function top level? API comparison function. Do we want a depth compare? Or do we just, I don't know. We're gonna stick a pin in that. Out.depth.configure sampler context sample. So we can now sample from our textures. You need a damn building to cool a tiny chip. Congratulations, you have found the Discord. We are on fire. Okay, so the code that I copied over from the old implementation is not working, surprising literally nobody. I don't think I even want to use maps. I think I'm going to use a switch. How do I write a switch in WGSL again? WGSL switch. Okay. So switch index case 0, case 1, default. So we're gonna go out dot position equals vec for f 0, 1 out dot uv equals this stuff. Copy all that. The first index 3, -1. And those UVs aren't gonna work. Oh boy. Oh boy. So 3, -1. -1, 3, 0, 1. Those are gonna have to become a lot bigger. Does it build though? You're gonna have to go to bed? Battery, sleep well. I wish you pleasant dreams, Mr. Battery. Have fun at school tomorrow. Position. Alright. They are written like this. Vec for F. U ring. Vec 2F. Oh, and they're comma separated, aren't they? Huh? 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 Vertex, and this needs to be out. On vertex output. This needs to be vertex output. Singing in my ears. Having Minecraft villager. Ha! 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 Did I do it? Are you proud of me? Ha! That was a good one, I think. Var. Hopefully vars are mutable by default. And I think they have a let. These are playlists now. Far out vertex. Unresolved. I cannot spell. I. No more distractions. Finish faster for a relaxed chat. Nothing. Unresolved value out. Okay. I've been writing too much slang. I forgot how to write WGSO. What don't you like? Analyzing entry point vertex. I believe that's what I say we use. Yep. Does I have another complaint they would like to raise with me? Let's delete and do everything. Error. Missing entry point IO attribute. WGSL varying. I need to tag it with something. WGSL, basic fragment, and vertex shader. It's like location 0 or something, I believe. Yes, location 0. Okay. Then we need the texture and the sampler. How the hell do I write those? How are they bound? 0, 0. It should be 2. I believe it's texture sampler. um. WGSL. Texture. Sample. How convenient. Texture. Sample. I think that's correct for bindings. It will tell me if it's not. Because I believe the texture system sets up texture sampler bound in that order. Sampler. Right? What the heck does that mean? I don't understand. Cool. So it's not working. Let's render dot. Okay, so let's capture this frame. So color pass 1. Wait. Huh. So up here, usage is texture, render attachment. What other attachments are there? I think render attachment's correct. I don't understand either. How are we setting this up? So we have the G buffer. We create the pass. And then we draw. And then we blit. So why? Well, I'm out of time. I'm confused. I'm gonna debug it and we'll hopefully have a working fish again tomorrow morning. Thank you everybody for stopping by. I think I'm gonna call it for the day. And I'm going to go poof. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.